there are certain things that we're setting up that make you make you feel like you're going to get a traditional experience, and then we turn a little left, a little right, and we say, we're doing a new version of it. And
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and we just received confirmation of 2 new X-Men titles from Marvel Comics. First, Giant Size X-Men from Jonathan Hickman and Russell Dauterman, and number 2, a Fantastic Four X-Men series from writer Chip Zdarsky and the Dodsons. First, I'm going to read the Newsarama article about Giant Size X-Men and give my thoughts, and then I'm going to read the CBR.com article about the Fantastic Four X-Men miniseries from Chip Zdarsky and give my thoughts on that, before I talk to my good friend Doc from Comics Aficionados. He's our X-Men expert, and I asked him if maybe there was too much X-Men in the pipeline. First, let's read the Newsarama article about Giant-Sized X-Men. Writer Jonathan Hickman will bring back the Giant-Sized X-Men title, this time as a series, with each installment focusing on different characters and created alongside a different artist. Kicking off the newly revamped Giant-Sized X-Men is a story titled Jean Grey and Emma Frost, which will explore the complicated relationship between Jean and Emma as they team up to rescue Storm. Russell Dauterman will draw Giant-Sized X-Men Jean Grey and Emma Frost #1 with longtime colorist Matthew Wilson. I've wanted to draw X-Men comics since I was a kid, so drawing this issue of X-Men is a dream come true, said Dauterman in a statement. I'm so thrilled to be working on this with Jonathan and Matt, and it's co-starring my favorite character, Jean Grey. Giant-Sized X-Men Jean Grey and Emma Frost is scheduled for a February release. Dawn of X Phase 2 is filling up really rapidly. We know we have Wolverine in the pipeline, now we have Giant-Sized X-Men, and we know we have X-Corp, although we don't know what the writer is yet. I think this is going to be a cool idea. I hope this isn't a monthly title. I hope it's more quarterly, and these are maybe 60 to 90 page comics. I'm definitely a customer for any comic with Jonathan Hickman on the title. You throw on X-Men and Russell Dauterman, and it's even more exciting. I think this is going to be a really good comic. I'm excited for it, but I do hope this isn't another monthly ongoing X-Men series because the landscape is getting crowded really fast. According to CBR, Marvel Comics plans on exploring how the X-Men's new status quo affects the larger Marvel Universe in X-Men Fantastic Four. The 4-issue miniseries by writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Terry Dodson and Rachel Dodson will focus on the Fantastic Four's Franklin Richards. The miniseries spins out of the events of House of X #1, which saw the Fantastic Four confront the X-Men following a terrorist attack by Mystique, Toad, and Sabretooth. After Sabretooth was apprehended, Cyclops extended an offer for Franklin to join his mutant brethren on the mutant island of Krakoa. I love that scene in House of X #1. I knew it needed to be expanded upon, so when I saw the opportunity to pitch this mini, the Franklin question was the heart of it, Chip Zdarsky said. Both Jonathan Hickman and Dan Slott have been very encouraging and gracious in allowing me to do what I pitched. Marvel Comics is absolutely 2 for 2 on these announcements. Chip Zdarsky's Marvel 2-in-1 was fantastic. The only thing that brought that series down was the art deteriorating over time as they kept changing out artists. I was very much hoping that he would be the one that actually relaunched Fantastic Four. Of course, we know that ended up being Dan Slott, which was disappointing, but Chip Zdarsky did get a move on to Daredevil, which has been excellent, and his Spider-Man Life story was also excellent. I'm very happy to see him return to the Fantastic Four and enter this new X-Men universe and explore one of the biggest mysteries from House of X, Franklin Richards, and his place on Krakoa. I think this is excellent. I'm definitely going to be all in on this series, and the art from Terry Dodson and Rachel Dodson is going to be impeccable. So this is a definite must-read for me, and I think Marvel really hit it out of the park with these 2 announcements. But like I mentioned before, I do think the X-Men landscape is filling up a little bit too full, and maybe they're pitching too many comics and maybe publishing too many X-Men titles at this point. This probably could have been put off another 6 months or so, but Chip Zdarsky on Fantastic Four and X-Men with great artists is great news, and I'm very excited for it. Now let's play the conversation between myself and my good friend Doc, our X-Men aficionado, right here on Thinking Critical. Well, I want to welcome to the channel Doc. He's our X-Men aficionado here at Thinking Critical. Welcome to the channel, buddy.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Not too bad. Lots of X-Men news in the news sites today. What do you think about all the new series that we're getting? Because Dawn of X, we're starting out with 6 new series. Flagship X-Men, New Mutants, X-Force. We've got Fallen Angels. We got Excalibur coming back. We've already had the first issue of Marauders. And we knew that there was going to be a phase 2, and now it appears that Giant Size X-Men from Jonathan Hickman is phase 2, X-Corp is phase 2, Wolverine. Is this all becoming a bit too much?
I think it is. They see a golden goose here, and this has been something that Marvel's had a tendency of doing for the last couple of years. They see a golden goose in Hickman's X-Men, an unexpected success that fans are really into, and all of a sudden they overexpose it. And I think it might be too much. I mean, you're looking at 10, 11, maybe 12 titles, especially when a lot of the months they're double shipping them.
Yeah, I mean, in December, they're double shipping every one of the Dawn of X titles. So it's 12 issues in December. It's going to be $50 basically to buy just one copy of every Dawn of X title.
Yeah. And I mean, you're still in variant phase there, like in those first 5 or 6 issues where they're going to be doing variants. So you're going to be, if you're a variant guy at all, you're looking at a lot of money. And especially if they do this after they get into the expansion of the line, I think some of these things could have been done as subplots or alternate plots or, down the line plots in one of the main titles.
Yeah, I mean, just by February, we should have, it seems we're going to have 9 X-Men titles. And that is, it's almost like you start thinking about that. That is a lot of comic books, especially if it's all like one overarching story arc, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at, obviously you have the first 6 that are coming out, but then in the beginning, in like January, you end up with adding Wolverine and X-Corps, and then maybe, if I don't know, is the Moira title X-Corps, or is it a different title? We haven't been, it's not clear on that yet.
I'm assuming that the Moira title and the title that was teased that was going to deal with resurrections and possible problems, that those are going to be like phase 3, because they don't sound like they're these 2 titles or these 3 titles.
Yeah, maybe. I honestly don't know. I mean, we know that there's a bunch of other ones coming, and we're just not sure what they are. But, they said there was going to be a Vita Ayala one and a Leah Williams one in phase 2, but they already announced the Benjamin Percy one as Wolverine for phase 2, so that still leaves 2 more books for phase 2. One of which,
we know X-Corp is one of them with Carmen Carnero as the artist.
Yeah, and I think that one's going to be the Vita one.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
So there's still supposedly a Leah Williams one too in phase 2. So that might. That's why I'm saying I don't know if the Moira one is X-Corps or what. I don't know.
So do you think this giant size X-Men is going to be a true ongoing, as in a monthly comic, or do you think this will be like quarterly or something? Because it sounds like they're going to have different revolving artists.
Well, they're calling it giant sized X-Men, but they didn't actually talk about what kind of page count we're looking at. Is this just a 22 or 32 page book? In which case, is it really giant sized X-Men? I mean, if it ends up being like a 64 page book, I have a suspicion it's going to end up it might actually end up monthly, because I think it would probably kind of replace kind of the way that X-Men Unlimited used to be. But although that was more of an anthology book, I think it might end up replacing X-Men Unlimited. So kind of fill that hole.
So we know that the first giant-size X-Men story is going to be Emma Frost and Jean Grey going to save Storm, with Jonathan Hickman writing, and Russell Dauterman from Thor and War of the Realms fame is going to be the artist. He's a terrific artist. On its own, does this sound exciting for you?
It on its own, it's actually not a bad sounding book. I have no major objections to it. It sounds actually kind of fun. I'm not sure how interesting a one-off, Emma and Jean issue with, to go save Storm is really all that interesting. But I like the creative team, and I think Hickman's going to do something with another one of those kind of large overarching plots with a bunch of one and done stories.
Mm-hmm. Well, it definitely seems to fit, his overall theme. It's at least for his X-Men, at least where it's one stories that are overarchingly connected, and it sounds like this will, this got to be a double-sized issue at least, right?
If you're going to call it a giant-sized X-Men and it's not at least 64 pages, it's not giant-sized X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
It's just normal-sized X-Men.
So it sounds like by February we're going to have 9 total X-Men titles on the market. Do you think that the comic market can currently sustain 9 ongoing X-Men titles?
No, I don't. I think that, now granted, I think that a lot of these are being announced with an expectation that, at least 2, maybe 3 of the other previously announced titles are probably going to get axed already. I mean, hell, they may be announcing them with an expectation that, some of them are only miniseries. Excalibur may be only a miniseries. We don't know. I mean, it's Marvel. They don't actually do ongoings. They call things ongoings until they're not ongoing anymore, which is normally around 6 to 12 issues, which basically makes it an unannounced miniseries. So I think that, they already have an expectation that some of these are going to be already kind of on the block. And as a result, you're going to need to have other books to replace it with. I don't think that it's 9 books is something that the market can bear for any significant period of time.
Well, another problem is, there's only so much, space for them to market these books and get the word out. So you almost hear nothing about Fallen Angels, which is, the book that outside of X-Men itself is the one I'm most interested in. And it seems like, another Jonathan Hickman giant-sized X-Men is going to only dilute that even more. Are they setting some of these other books up for failure by not promoting them, or maybe taking the oxygen air out of the room, or the oxygen out of the room for them to breathe?
Yeah, that's exactly the analogy I was thinking of. Hickman's going to suck up a lot of the oxygen in the room. And now the Wolverine solo title is going to suck up all the oxygen in phase 2. I think you may end up, having problems with the other announced, that we'll get to in a second, other announced phase 3, I guess, miniseries book. Just getting some attention on that because of the Hickman giant-sized X-Men. Yeah, I think he's going to suck a lot of the oxygen out of the room, and I think he also is going to, you're not good. I think that, yeah, they are setting up a lot of these to fail. Let's be honest. Excalibur already had the biggest hill to climb, and I haven't seen word one about it. Brian Hill's at least out there promoting Fallen Angels and like trying to get some sort of coverage on it, even if Marvel itself isn't doing it. Nobody's talking about New Mutants. And X-Force is just, it exists. That one probably going to go on name alone. Same with New Mutants, at least for a little bit. That'll go on Hickman's name alone. And then Wolverine, they're already announcing phase 2 of things before they even get the first issue of phase 1 out. And I think that's a problem.
Okay, so if all of our viewers might not know this, but you were an X-Men completionist. Like,
oh God,
it was your plan that you were going to own every single X-Men comic. Does this make you balk at that idea? I know they already kind of turned you off with the $1,000 X-Men gold and blue debut issues, right?
Yeah. That was kind of where my completionism ended. And I have no intention of ever go, re-exploring that unless I, hit the lottery and decide, hey, here's just $1,000 for a comic book that I don't actually need. Hell, for that price, I could probably buy Jim Lee's original art for it. Um, so no, I think that, as a completionist, it drives me up the wall. Hell, even as just an ex-fan, without even getting into the variants and the reprints and all the other stuff, it's just too damn many at the current price point. If they were half the price that they are right now, if they were $2.50 for debut issues and $2 for the regular book, okay, fine. But you're looking at possibly, we're looking at maybe a dozen titles so far announced. And if they start double shipping them, you're looking at 24 books a month, which is like $100 a month.
So at some point, does it feel like Marvel and their leadership are actually trying to take advantage of you as a fan, as an X-Men reader?
Yes, and I believe it was Chuck Austin Chuck Dixon. Sorry, apologies to Chuck Dixon for confusing him with Chuck Austin there. That's kind of a major faux pas. No, Chuck Dixon, I think just a couple of weeks ago, said something in an interview along the lines of, that a lot of the publishers, they didn't take advantage of the growth of the 90s and the bubble. They exploited it instead. And I feel like this is just another, they don't know where the line is between taking advantage and exploitation. Using it as an opportunity for growth and using it as an opportunity for a cash grab. And it seems that a lot of the executives at Marvel currently don't understand where that difference is. And I mean, I understand putting in, releasing things that you don't expect to succeed and then just kind of hoping for the best and having a plan with the expectation that they don't succeed. But if you're not certain of it, don't release it. I feel like they're going for, they had a bona fide success with House of X, Powers of X, and instead of using it as an opportunity for growth, they're using it as an opportunity for exploitation. And that's going to backfire on them because, all the people that are reading, Hickman X-Men, they want to pick up as many of these titles as possible. And every time you add another one on there, especially when you have Hickman out there saying they're all connected, they all matter, they're all telling different aspects of this story. So you're not getting anything that's you're being told that every single thing matters for Hickman's story, including some junk, Leah Williams book.
Mm-hmm.
If you're told that all these things matter and that you need to be reading all of it, then make it a reasonable price. Keep it at a reasonable line size. Don't just make some massive line and expect everybody to buy everything and then start double shipping. You're just, it's a recipe for people to have fatigue and give up right at the beginning.
Doc, thank you very much for joining the channel today, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts next week on X-Men.
Excellent. Thank you, sir, for having me.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.